Now, how this applies to conscious creation and magic is that as you become aware that the timeline or the creation that you desire to experience is already there within the fabric of the continuum, you are able to use that higher conscious self to then shift to a timeline that has that experience which is already created. And that's what you're doing with conscious creation. You are consciously shifting the tracks, and you're able to direct the shift of the track instead of just randomly, subconsciously shift and not realize where you're going. Okay, your thoughts and your intentions are what shift that higher self to a new track, a new universe, a new brain, a new timeline. Okay? It's fascinating. But it's a higher reality that we are not aware of, that we participate in at every moment. Okay? Share some experiences. This happens a lot of times to people. And, you go into I was talking to my mother one time, and I was relating something that had happened in the past. And she said, no, actually, that sweater is blue. And she goes and she shows me the blue sweater she was wearing. And I swear to God, it was red. I swear to God that when I experienced that moment, it was red. She experienced the sweater as being blue. Now, there's a possibility I could have forgotten. Yeah, it was really blue, and maybe I got mixed up. But so many times we come into situations where we'll start telling, remember when this happened? And people around us go, what the hell are you talking about? Or they'll remember it differently. There is a possibility that what you are consciously perceiving from moment to moment, you may have shifted a dimension, a brain, a reality, a universe that vibrates very similar to the one we are on. So it's easy to shift your consciousness there, where you experience something different from what other people in the universe that you are currently on experienced. Okay? Now, there are also universes that are so different from our vibration, so different in their composition, beyond what you can imagine. They exist, but from our perspective, they're more difficult to shift to that track, because that track vibrates at such a level that's not close to the one we're on. Now it's there. And eventually your higher self will consciously be able to shift from brain to experience those higher tracks. Digressing, I believe we do that in the astral because we vibrate at a different level. We still are part of the continuum in the higher planes of existence. In the astral, in the mental, in the causal, we still vibrate. We're part of the continuum there. But because we vibrate differently, I believe that we are able to shift tracks that we cannot do in the physical vibration. That was a digression, but something I believe. Okay, so something else I want to share with you about these brains and these universes are, when I learned this, I thought, but you know what? If they're all interpenetrating, and if they're infinite, never stopping, never ending, wouldn't there come a time where they're kind of congested to the point where they're just too thick, like nets interwoven infinitely? And then, my guide, who helps me to understand some of this stuff and directs me also to books that help me to comprehend my questions, helped me realize that the higher nature of energy and matter is actually substanceless in its nature. Energy and matter, when you get to the quantum level, does not have mass, it does not have weight, nor size, and is substanceless in its nature. And because matter at the highest quantum level is substanceless, it doesn't matter how many brains penetrate it, because the highest reality is the space-time continuum is substanceless in its nature and energy. Life is but a dream. That's what some of the mystics say. The Buddhists, they tell us that we reach a point of the highest awareness, we become aware of nothingness. But this nothingness is totality and all at the same time. See, the nature of physicality is, it is everything and nothing at the same time. And that's something you need to keep in mind. And that's why infinite numbers of universes are able to occupy the same space and time, because in their highest reality they do not have mass nor dimension. Okay? Now if you don't believe me, ask a physicist. They'll tell you the same thing. Photons. Photons. Light is made of photons. Photons have no dimension. Yet they're there. It's like a paradox. So you got to keep that in mind, and that's what makes up infinite realities, infinite creations. Now I know that I've said a mouthful in this video. I suggest if you didn't understand it, maybe you can go back to the beginning and listen to it several times. It may be a lot of stuff to digest. Go to the resources that I've also posted, and remember that the reason I'm sharing this with you is because when you become aware of how this continuum is working, you are able to access it more consciously and to manifest the realities that you desire to experience by realizing they're already there. All you have to do is shift your awareness to where they are. Okay? I'm going to close with an anecdote that blew my mind. After learning all of this, I was asking my guide in a intuitive reading. I was asking my guide, I said, so does that mean that everything I imagine and every possibility that I can create in my mind, every thought that has energy, remember thoughts have energy, does that mean there is some place within the space-time continuum where those things actually exist? And my guide said yes. And all that you can imagine is only an infinitesimal part of that continuum. There's so much more that you have not even yet to imagine. And that's why creation and the evolution of consciousness is a continual process. We are part of that process. Creation is not an event, it is a process. It's a flowing process of the continuum. Continuously restructuring itself at the moment of singularity, continuously creating itself in an eternal process of self-discovery and creation. The reason why the ultimate self is unknowable. In the Tao Te Ching, they say the ultimate self, the Tao, is unnameable and unknowable. And the reason it is because it is unknowable in its highest essence. It has the potential to take on any form and any shape. It's unknowable, thus it can be all things. Okay. Anyways, I've said a mouthful. I hope something that I said helped you. And I'm gonna sign off. Bye-bye.